let's talk about our weekly checklist. So this business is not overly complicated. I think I say that a lot, right? But we got to do what we say we're going to do. And if we don't have anything that we're saying we're going to do, we're not going to do it, right? So everything should be by design.
Yeah.
That weekly checklist, I got it as a link in our Monday email. You guys see that? So that's something that we really, really need to focus on doing. So weekly checklist provides structure, right? We never really want to be at a spot where we wake up and say, I'm not sure what to do today. And do you find yourself in that situation sometimes?
Like today, for example, I'm like, okay, what could I be doing this afternoon that isn't just like cold calling? I feel like there's other things I could be doing, and it's nice to have something laid out in front of me. Like, this is what I do every Tuesday afternoon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even when you have these laid out and they're set in your schedule, sometimes you're like, Tuesday doesn't work. I got to move this stuff over to Wednesday. But if you don't have it written down, you're not going to move it over to Wednesday. It just doesn't get done, you know? So we really want to use these forms. I see you working on it.
Yeah.
And every day you look at what is on the schedule, and it's by design. You had planned out prior when you had your thought, right? How do I work on my business? What should I do? You decided to write it down. So now on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, you have set things that you set yourself up to do. And there's a better chance that stuff getting done. It won't get done if you're just kind of shooting at the hip and trying.
Right.
So this form, it could be any form, but why not simplify things? Why not just use this form, right?
Right.
So click on that link. It's an Excel sheet, and you have the ability to save it. You could write into it, make it all nice, or you could just handwrite it like Maria's doing.
Yeah.
The second tab. So an Excel sheet and other tabs. First tab is the weekly checklist. The second tag is a monthly tracker. So you could actually track your numbers on what you're doing. So if you made, let's just say 500 calls over the course of the month and you got nothing from it, now all of a sudden you could look at that tracker and say, I put in some time. I made a lot of calls. I'm not getting the results I want. Why? And you could reflect, right? Self-reflection of what's going on. And you could also see what is working. And then you might decide, I got to figure out a way on how to improve my calls, or this other thing is working. Let me go ahead and maybe do that an additional day and do more of the stuff that's working. So on a smaller basis, you probably could keep track in your mind. This is working, but how much is it working? What is your conversion on your calls? If you don't track it, you'll never know. You'll just say, I'm having some success in this, but it won't be by design. You won't have an idea on exactly what that means. What's my conversion? And let's say you're doing 500 calls a month and you're getting, 3 or 4 good listing leads out of it. And maybe eventually it accounts to 1 listing per month. Now you say, well, how can I get my conversion up? What am I doing? Is my conversations effective? Am I closing one time and then backing off? Maybe I need to learn a better dialogue and practice my reps and role play to close a second time and a third time. Very rarely do people convert right away with just one close. Hey, I just listed a house up the block. As a service to my seller and a service to you, I'm inviting you over to a private open house just for homeowners. Would you like to come by? No, I don't. I'm not interested in selling. Okay, bye. How can I extend that conversation? Oh, that's no problem. If you're not interested in selling, let me ask you a question. How long have you lived in the property? Maybe just adjusting your script as a follow-up question, how long you lived in your property, all of a sudden it extends 30 conversations. And now that extra 30 conversations you had, that's a little bit of a longer conversation, you build better rapport and get maybe 1 or 2 extra leads from that. So now all of a sudden I got 3 to 5 good leads. I'm tracking it. I'm deciding to improve on my skills and role play on the phone. And now that 3 to 5 turns into closer to 10. That could be a big difference in your business if you're able to convert more on the activities that you're doing. So tracking it gives you the ability to figure out what's working, what's not working, how to improve on it. And your mind's always working on, okay, what activities am I doing and how can I improve them? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We also want to talk about that hot sheet. So we have our 10 best, right? Our 10 best buyers, our 10 best sellers. Maybe your list is only 3 best, right? Or 5 best, whatever it is. When you have that sheet, your client hot sheet, which is your best clients and customers that you know, if somebody had a gun to your head, where would your next business come from? And Maria likes this.
It sits on the top of my pile. I look at it all every day and I go, all right, I'm gonna pay more attention to this one and this one. And reach out to that one and that one. Yeah, and it works.
It works because it's
Yeah.
top of mind, right? We talk about in sales how we want to be top of mind to all our sphere of influence, right? So when they have a real estate need, boom, they know exactly who to think of,
Yeah.
and hopefully that person's you. So your clients, if they're top of mind, you're going to give them a lot more follow-up, and it's going to be customized follow-up. You're going to take notes. You're going to have a record of what you said the first time, the second time, third time, and through that hot sheet, all your contacts that you make, log it into my Whitegrid. What conversations you have, when you speak.
The daily houses that come out.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that every day. And I got this list next to me. If I see something, it just reminds me, oh, that's what they're looking for. And I immediately will download the PDF, you know, make a PDF of the buyer sheet and send it right over to them. Even if I have them on a saved search and they're getting it. But I will individually send it over to them and say, like, stress, we should go see this weekend. When do you got time? Blah, blah, blah. Just to put a fire on them, because sometimes the buyers get lazy. They're like, yeah, no, not really. No, let's do this. Need more commission.
And then when somebody's closing on a house, obviously, and you know that they were a really great client of yours, you developed a great rapport with them. Is that something too that you would still follow up with them and be like, listen, I don't know if like you have anybody else who might have any real estate needs that
Absolutely.
I could
So-
possibly help with, and using them that way?
100%. It's a great referral source. Yeah.
There's so many follow-ups.
Okay.
So in a perfect world, you would have a basically a separate checklist or a separate plan post-closing.
Completed transaction.
And part of that might be, first is to send out a request for a review. I have a template of my notes. I text it out. It's got a link to my Google profile. And it says something to the effect of, Lorraine, as you could guess, my business heavily relies on 5-star reviews and referrals. If you could please just take the time to put a review on my Google profile, I would truly appreciate it. And if it doesn't come over, because a lot of times they have good intention and they won't do it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't come over in 3 or 5 days, send that reminder, keep on them until they do that review, because those reviews make a difference. And then if you decide you want to grow your Google reviews, which I think is the best bang for the buck, you know, everyone's on Google, manually transpose those people into your My Whitegrid website as a testimonial. You could literally just copy and paste the text and upload it yourself. And now that testimonial is on Google and your website.
Okay.
Another thing you would do is maybe that 5-year follow-up plan. So for, you know, there's different packages, but between like 30 and $49, it will send out 25 pieces of mail that's branded with you to that homeowner, that new homeowner or seller for 5 years. So without you doing anything, you said it once, it's a 5-year follow-up. So between those two things alone, you're getting a lot of potential for referrals, and you get the review as well. And then set up the anniversary date on My Whitegrid, set up the birthdays on there, and the system's gonna work for you and have touches as well.
Set them up for market valuation on the home they just bought.
Yes, that's
So
huge.
they could see how
So
much equity they're getting.
they
and
look
things
like,
like
I
that.
think I overpaid, and then all of a sudden they're seeing these valuations and they're 10, 20, 30 over in
Yeah.
a few months,
Yeah.
you know.
So would you do something like that? Obviously, because I haven't closed on a house yet, but I've been working with a lot of people looking for rentals, which
Mhm.
reminds me I might have someone for you for
Okay.
June 1st. Same sort of approach, like, hey, it's been a year that you've been in the apartment, like, are you looking to renew the lease, or you think you'll possibly?
Absolutely.
I just want to follow up, so using them. because-
Absolutely. And then if you do rent, even if you're representing the tenant, hopefully you have the owner's contact information as well. And then as that lease date's approaching, you could either help them find a new person if that tenant's gonna be leaving, or most people that own rental properties, they will typically decide to sell after a vacancy. So when the house is empty, that's when they, you know, most of these people have a little fork in the road. Are they gonna want to sell? Are they gonna re-rent? And some people are kind of undecided. So if you can be there at that time and say, I can handle these services for you to rent the property, screen the tenant, do a background check, do all that other stuff. But as a service to to people like you, I also will put together a price trend analysis so you know how much equity you have in the house. And I know some investors do consider maybe selling, cashing out, maybe reinvesting in a different type of property. So I'd like to be that resource for you too. And you're not going to do that if it's not in my Weichert with like reminders and
Right,
you know,
right.
you got to use the system
Right.
because your memory is not going to be that good. So these weekly checklists, I mean, they're awesome because it has you, you know, the ability to fall back. You know, you go away on vacation, you get back and you're like, oh boy, I'm out of, you know, I'm out of it. What do I do? Boom. I get my weekly checklist. I just knock it out. And that hot sheet, again, I think it's really valuable to do that. Even if your people, you're like, yeah, I could put this buyer down, but you know, I don't think they're real buyers and they're not that serious. If it's your best buyer lead, put it on there and then improve that, get better ones. So complete your weekly checklist each week, add to it, take things off if you don't want us to do things. For instance, I was doing a trailing spouse letter is what they call it, where after a closing, not even our closings, any closing, any house that's sold in the area, I would send out a note, basically a letter saying, you know, I hope you know, welcome to the neighborhood. I hope you enjoyed the process. Many people that buy houses and work with the realtor at the end of the transaction say, hey, I could do this. If you had any thoughts of becoming a realtor. So I think it's more prevalent in areas where there's like heavy relocation, where you have somebody moving for work and then the other spouse might be looking for a job or something to do. So I did that consistently for about 7 months and I decided to take that off because I wasn't getting the results. So it's a thing that it's a learning process, right? So there's things that are going to be added to your weekly checklist and there might be things that you're going to remove, which is okay. So this meeting for the last, I don't know, 9-10 weeks, we've been doing this, maybe even longer. It was more activity based, where we're just kind of giving suggestions on certain activities. But this is gonna be the first time I'm gonna ask you to complete your weekly checklist and show me a copy, give me a copy, okay?
During this meeting?
No, by next week.
Oh, okay.
Can you commit to that, Lorraine? Yeah. Look at you smiling over there, hiding.
It could be via Excel, PDF.
Excel, PDF, email, print. It could have one item a day on it. I don't care how detailed it is right now. All right. Can I get that commitment, Sal?
You want me to share it with you?
Oh, I'm gonna work on it.
All right. Lorraine, Maria. All right, cool.
Sir. Thank you. Copies of
What was the meeting upstate?
Meeting upstate. I don't know anything about a meeting upstate. Oh, Joseph went upstate, right? Probably NISTAR. I honestly, you would think I would know what he's doing and what I'm doing, being that we work together, we talk all the time, but we have no idea.
That's funny.
So it's probably a NISTAR thing, a New York State Association of Realtors.
I have a client that lives upstate. And moved from there to here, and now she's got a house that's, cause her husband died. And, he happened to be going up there, and I'm going up there, pay a visit to her and get her to sign the stuff, the listing.
Albany area?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, exactly, well, area. We were gonna do the e-sign, but I'd rather have a personal touch than,
Do you need one?
Yeah, the e-sign works good too.
Okay, thank you.
Final thought, success doesn't come from what you do occasionally, it comes from what you do consistently. There's no shocker there, right? I'm not telling you anything that's mind blowing. But I think we need to be reminded, you know, good, yeah.
Like I was showing houses Saturday in rain. And as I was going to one of them, I passed this empty lot in the middle of a block. A little bit of grass growing and whatnot, so. Like I'm driving, so. I just slowed down, took a picture of the street sign, so I knew the intersection of where it was, because there's no address or anything, and I was kind of like
In your
driving.
location in Google Maps, it gives you the exact.
Then I come here, like I just started looking for it actually, and I'll just search the block and see what the lot is and see who owns it and see if I can do something.
I
I
started
was almost
making
gonna
this
stop at that house.
yeah,
and-
I was gonna
box
say
and I
Thursday.
carve all different doors, like, in case I had passed anything, and I'm like,
And if it,
pull her real quick and put it on there.
All right.